Beauty is a trap. Yes, a trap set by the mass culture industry surrounding us, presenting us with idealized, unrealistically beautiful things and people. A trap that can oppress those who feel compelled to imitate the visual definitions and the other definitions that dominate the relentless media barrage that we get through the little screens and the big ones as well. Day and night surrounds us. It's a trap that sucks dollars out of our credit cards for beauty products, clothes, shoes, and accessories. A trap that makes us feel incomplete and inadequate. I know a little bit about this because my stepdaughter's in the makeup business. Josie Marin Cosmetics. Check it out. Anyway, it turns out, and this I think says a lot about this beauty trap that we're stuck in, and that is the beauty industry is bulletproof, right? It's recession-proof. When times are good, people buy beauty products. When times are bad, they think they need to buy even more so that they're more employable, right? To get jobs when times are tough for jobs. It's just another sign of the ubiquity and the power of this industry and the traps that it sets. But there's another kind of beauty trap that is well worth falling into, and it's the one that's set by God, so to speak. Here's a quote from a wonderful philosopher and theologian, French Jewish woman, Simone Weil. She is a Jewish woman who got attracted to Christianity and went deep into it, but never got baptized. Never was an official Christian, but expressed Christianity in some profound ways. She said, "The soul's natural inclination to love beauty is the trap that God most frequently uses in order to win it and open it to the breath from on high. The beauty of the world is Christ's tender smile for us coming through matter. He is really present in the universal beauty. The love of this beauty proceeds from God dwelling in our souls and goes out to God present in the universe. It's like a sacrament." Our experience of beauty very often kind of points us into the unknown. What's beautiful is often mysterious, yes, alluring us with the possibility of discovering the unseen that's behind what we can see. Beauty is not what you see is what you get. It suggests that there's a story behind it, some kind of struggle even, perhaps, which is why some of the loveliest things are humble, they're dented, distressed, used. Yes? Wabi-sabi in the Japanese culture, right? Perfect imperfection. Perfect because it's imperfect in some way. People are often most beautiful when they expose their vulnerabilities, letting marks show by being emotionally honest and naturally revealing hints of life's trials and tribulations through mannerisms and expressions. Yeah, my wife loves me most when I'm the most wimpy, right? Vulnerable. She likes that. That's where she finds beauty in me, when I'm certainly not intending to be beautiful. Beauty is very much a matter of context. You look at something that's seemingly mundane or unattractive in the context in which you usually encounter it in everyday life, but if you zoom way out and see the same thing in a bigger and wider context, it can become integral to a larger scale beauty. It's like, okay, we got Calvin here, we have Carol, we have Joyce, our unsung heroes, pulling weeds every week out of our church property. Weeds, yes. And thank you for that, because otherwise things start looking funky here, right? Meanwhile, these same weeds cover our hills in beautiful Simi Valley. This time of year, all green and lush, and we stand apart and from afar, and we look at these beautiful hills covered with the same weeds that we pull on our church property, and we go, lovely, nice, right? So it's context, always, always. And if you zoom onto the leaf of a weed with a microscope or a magnifying glass, you see beauty. Let's do it now. Yeah, a freshly whacked weed from the front of our church. That's what you're looking at here with a magnifier. See what you can find. Have a look yourself. Next time you see something that at first glance looks ugly or funky, imagine a context or a scale in which it would be an important aspect of something beautiful. See what you can find. Also, holy dirt from New Mexico. The healing dirt from Santuario de Chimayo in New Mexico. See what that looks like under a magnifier. Pass them around. The relationship of beauty and desire. That's an issue, isn't it? It torments us sometimes. Beauty is something that we want. But what would it mean to have it? What does it mean to have beauty? Ultimately, you can't. You can't have beauty. You can't own beauty. It's it's like a monkey trap. You're trying to get something out of a jar, and because you put your hand in and you put your hand around it, you can't get it out. You can't have it. It's in the jar. It's apart from you. So that the key for us in appreciating beauty is to let go of this grasping to own it and control it. The very nature of it is such that you can't. A beautiful thing involves no good except itself. That's another line from Simone Weil. We are drawn to it without knowing what to ask of it. It offers us its own existence. We do not desire anything else. We possess it, and yet we desire something still. You possess it, but you don't really possess it. You might have title to it, but you don't really own it. She also said in another context, she said, the most amazing works of art are ultimately anonymous. It's a really interesting observation. A beautiful work of art, we attribute it to some famous artist, perhaps, but there's something about it that is sort of anonymous, right? It belongs to everybody. It doesn't belong to anybody. It doesn't belong to the person who made it even. It's other. It's in another dimension. Simone Weil has this great line about, maybe you've had this experience. Maybe you can remember this from childhood, right? She says, children feel this trouble already when they look at a cake, and for a long time, they almost regret that it has to be eaten, right? But they are drawn to eat it anyway. So it's like you have a birthday cake, You blow out the candles. You just want to look at it. You want to eat it, but really what you want to do even more is just look at it. And you don't want it to be gone. We don't want, we want beauty to remain. We want beauty to last. We want it to keep existing. So that holds us back from consuming it. Yeah? This line comes from the wonderful Portuguese poet. I discovered him last summer when Roberta and I were in Portugal. Fernando Pessoa, mid-20th century poet. And he asked this question. He says, "Why is art beautiful? Because it's useless." The beauty of ruins, the fact that they were no longer of any use. You don't think of that. You go to a ruin, there's something beautiful about a Roman ruin or a Native American ruin. An early California pueblo or mission that's kind of in ruins. There's something beautiful about that. And Pessoa just gets at this and just says, it's because it's useless now. That's why it's part of why it's beautiful. Right? Again, beauty. You can't use it. It's like those of us who do art, it's useless. And that's the point, right? That's the point of it. Consider the lilies and how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not clothed like this, said Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount. You'll notice he did not tell people to pick the flowers. Right? He's not saying, go pick the flowers and take them home. No, he's saying, consider them. Consider the lilies. Yeah? That's pretty good advice, isn't it, in general? Consider the aloe plant. Consider the weeds. Consider the hills covered in green and poppies. Consider them. Experience them. Appreciate them as they are. Salvation comes from this kind of looking. A kind of looking that's liberated from a sense of separation from what you're looking at, liberated by releasing our attempt to grasp what is beautiful. But here's another, I think we did this before here, but try it again at home. Take a mirror and find a flower, this time pick the flower, pick a flower and scotch tape it to a mirror. And then hold the mirror up to your face and look. What do you see? Imagine doing this. What do you see? You see yourself and the flower, and you also see yourself looking at the flower. Yeah, from the other side, right? Or maybe you're just looking at the flower, right? And enjoying the fact that from the other side, from the mirror, that side of you is looking at the flower too. Try it. It's kind of cool. I've done this. It's a spiritual practice. Scotch tape a flower on your mirror in your bathroom. See what happens. See what happens. We want to get behind beauty, said Simone Weil, but it's only a surface. It's like a mirror that sends us back to our own desire for goodness at its best, yes? If we're gazing at beauty, not with desire to grasp or control, not with a desire to make it our own or, anything like that. If we really appreciate beauty as other from us, it sends back to us our desire for goodness. Makes us better people. Only beauty is not the means to anything else. Only beauty is not the means to anything else. It alone is good in itself, without our finding any particular good or advantage in it. It seems to itself to be a promise and not a good, but it only gives itself. It never gives anything else. Beauty only gives itself. You and I are the beauty that we see. We are the beauty that we see. We are the beauty that we see. We are the beauty that we see. Anybody who can zoom in and zoom out with their minds and imaginations, anyone who seeks out the beauty of other people of all shapes and sizes, the beauty of the natural world around them, even the beauty to be found in the grim and gritty environments of our cities, becomes beautiful. Being beautiful is not about losing 20 pounds and 20 years and getting the right musculature or the right makeup or facelift. Being beautiful is about experiencing beauty. If you let it in, letting go of your assumptions about exactly what it is so that you can experience more of it, it will take over your being and then be expressed through you. Sharing beauty with each other is itself beautiful. Yeah? When you tell somebody about something you experienced that was beautiful, that is beautiful. Fernando Pessoa made this observation I think is wonderful. He said, "Fields are greener when described than when they are merely their own green selves. There is nothing real in life that isn't more real for being beautifully described." Ooh, that's good, huh? So what you do, right? We don't have to be poets, we don't have to be writers, we don't have to be literary figures to do this. Anybody can, we all do it. And when we do, we are beautiful, right? We amplify beauty, we reflect it back. Like Mary, it's like my soul magnifies the Lord. That's what you do when you tell your friends and relatives about the beauty that you have experienced and seen. It amplifies it. It's its own beauty that makes the beauty around us even more vivid and intense and real. Beauty humbles us. It makes us good because it's humbling, because it's beyond us, because it's bigger and better than our everyday selves. But by being humbled, we are ennobled. Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. As it says in the book of James, no better way to get humbled than to go outside and look in the sky. Yes? As the God of the book of Job adjured Job to do in this wonderful passage, which makes the sky grander. This passage in the book of Job, it makes the grand sky even grander to contemplate his words. Hear this, O Job. Stop and consider the wondrous works of God. Do you know how God lays his command upon them and causes the lightning of his cloud to shine? Do you know the balancing of the clouds, the wondrous works of the one whose knowledge is perfect? You whose garments are hot when the earth is still because of the south wind. Can you, like him, spread out the skies, hard as a molten mirror? Teach us what we will say to him. We cannot draw up our case out of darkness. Should he be told that I want to speak? Did anyone ever wish to be swallowed up? No, no one can look on the light when it is bright in the skies, when the wind has passed and cleared them. Out of the north comes golden splendor. Around God is awesome majesty. Let's experience it and let's amplify it. Amen.